ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा गदां मह्यं ददाति स्वदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः शुक्तापदगमनं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome to IBC Siksha. We'll continue from Bhagavad Gita. Last time we completed 14th chapter and we'll start with the 15th chapter. So in the 14th chapter, we went over three modes of material nature, right? Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamasgun, and we discussed a lot actually. But in short, we went over this table. Sattvagun, Rajasgun is good, result is good, one is happy. One is happy here, one has full of knowledge, but one feels superior. That's the problem with Sattvagun. Passion, Rajas means you're born out of desire, a lot of hankering is there, therefore a lot of fruitive activity is there. Person is very active here, works very hard. Result is misery. And then there is ignorance, which is tamas. Here, one is deluded, one doesn't know what is right, what is wrong. One is influenced by insanity. Um, Insanity, indolence, sleep. Here, one is helpless or overly pride, and result is madness. Result is madness. Just let me. Result is madness. So, how do we remember these three mode of goodness, ignorance, and mode of passion? We gave example of three brothers from Ramayana. Who are the three brothers from Ramayana?
Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana.
Yes. So mostly Ravana was in mode of passion, very much hankering. He brought misery to himself and to everyone. Kumbhakarna was mode of ignorance. He was sleepy. He didn't know what is right, what is wrong. Even though he knew that Ravana did a mistake, still he went to protect him. And Vibhishan was mode of goodness. He had full knowledge and he transcended to pure goodness also. That is when he took bhakti to Lord Ram. So just by remembering these three people, we can remember the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. Okay. So okay. So now we are moving to 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is Purushottam Yoga. So in this Adhik Mas, this particular chapter is read every day. So we are lucky enough to discuss this chapter. Hmm? In the 14th chapter, Krishna says that you can transcend the three modes of material nature by taking to devotional service. By taking to devotional service, you can transcend them. And he also says that the Brahma Jyoti rests on him. The Brahmajyoti rests on him. So now in this chapter, Krishna is going to explain how how to break free from this material world and attain devotion and attachment for Krishna. How to do that? Hmm? Okay. 11th. Hmm. So in the end of the chapter, Krishna describes that one transcends the modes through devotional service. So how to practice devotion, how to come to the point of devotional service. Krishna is going to explain in 15th chapter. Interestingly, how to come to point of devotion service, Krishna has already explained in previous chapters, right? But again, he explains it here. And one attains devotional service from by developing detachment from the material world. This is very important. Detachment. How to do that? So we need to understand how to develop that detachment. And this chapter, um, so here Krishna is going to explain that. Okay. Uh, so before we explain, yeah. So what do you see in this picture? Can you tell me what you see in this picture?
ऊर्ध्वमूलमधःशाखम्.
Tree.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It means that the mool, this is a reflection of the tree. So it means that the shakha branches are showing at the bottom and mool at the top.
Yeah. The root is on the top. So it is an
Root
inverted tree. When we see
inverted
the
tree.
reflection, it looks like an inverted tree,
Right.
right? So Krishna uses this example to explain us something. He
There
explains
is
that
a
this
story also behind it. If you, I
what?
there is a story.
There's
One
a
of the
story.
acharya was telling the story about this.
Okay, okay. I don't know that story. Um,
If it
yeah,
is okay, I can tell.
yeah. You tell. What is the story?
So the story is since this Urdhmula Madhashakam, one there was a queen, very beautiful queen. She had a very beautiful necklace.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
You remember that story now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you know that.
Okay, okay. So the point is that um, if if we are looking at the reflection, and in the reflection, if we see some fruit or something, then if we try to get that fruit in the reflection, will we get that fruit? No, right? Because it's a reflection. So so Krishna, he explains how this material world is created. So basically he says that this is an inverted root, inverted tree. So as such, we have never seen such a tree which is inverted. The only example that we see a tree inverted is a reflection. Okay, only in a reflection can a tree be seen inverted. Otherwise, we have never seen a tree which is inverted where roots go up and branches go down, right? Whatever experience we have, the root goes down and the branches go up, right? So the understanding is that this tree is not the real tree. It's a reflection. It's not it's a reflection. So first thing we need to understand that it's a reflection, and we can break through it, right? We have to come to realization. So he explains that the many branches and the leaves of this tree are the various Vedas and the various economic development, the hymns, various kinds of activities. These are all in this inverted tree. And the soul, he gets many bodies, and he just jumps from uh, one branch to another. He keeps jumping like this to experience new fruits of this tree. And the Paramatma, he's not interested in all of this. Okay, just hold on, please. So Krishna says, if this tree is inverted and it's a reflection, then there has to be a real tree, right?
अरे बाबा रे थोड़ा
Yeah, there has to be a real tree. So one has to go to that real tree. And then Krishna talks about his abode. So this picture actually explains the whole thing. In the reflection, we try to have so many relationships, so many possessions, achievements. Okay, but there is always some pain, there is always pleasure. Hmm? And things don't are not that friendly here. There is sometimes friendly, there is sometimes enemies, there's happiness, distress, success, failure. So we are trying to find happiness in this reflection, which we cannot get. Just like I was saying, that if that in a reflection, if we see some fruit in the reflection, if we try to get it, will we get it? No, because it's a reflection. So the real relationships are in the spiritual world, which we see on the top. Okay, so there, the relationships are eternal, and they are full of happiness. So Krishna first explains that we are looking for happiness in a reflection of the tree. So therefore we need to come out of this, and first thing we need to develop is detachment, so that we can go to the real tree, and there we will have eternal happiness. So that is the gist of this chapter. So we'll enter into the chapter. Okay, someone can someone read translation and purport?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
I can read.
Okay, you can read, Prabhuji.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its root upward and its branches down, whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows the tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Read the purport also. Can you read the purport, or someone else read the purport, please?
I can read. Arjun, one second. After the discussion of the important Bhakti Yoga, one may question, what about the Vedas? It is explained in this chapter that the purpose of Vedic study is to understand Krishna. Therefore, one who is in Krishna consciousness, who is engaged in devotional services, already knows the Vedas. The entanglement of this material world is compared that to a banyan tree. For one who is engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. He wanders from one branch to another, to another, to another. The tree of this material world has no end. And for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. The Vedic hymns meant for elevating oneself are called the leaves of this tree. This tree's roots grow upward because they begin from where Brahm is located, the topmost planet of this universe. If one can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, then one can get out of it. This process of extrication should be understood in this in the previous chapter. It has been explained that there are many processes by wish to get out of the material entanglement, and up to the 13th chapter, we have seen that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking attachment to the material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. The root of this material existence grow, grows upward. This means that it begins from the total materialist substance, from the topmost planet of the universe. From there, the whole universe is expanded with so many branches representing the various planetary systems. The fruits represent the result of the living entities activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Now, there is no ready experience in this world of a tree situated with its branches down and its roots upward. But there is such a thing that tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank reflect upon the water with their branches down and roots up. In other words, the tree of this material world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire, just as a tree's reflection is situated on water. Desire is the cause of things. Being situated in this reflected material light, one who wants to get out of this material existence must know this this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off his relationship with it. This tree, being the reflection of the real tree, is an exact replica. Everything is there in the spiritual world. The impersonalists take Brahm to be the root of this material tree, and from the root, according to Sankhya philosophy, come Prakriti, Purusha, and then the three gunas, then the five gross element, Pancha Mahabhuta, and then 10 senses, Rasendriya, mind, etc. In this way, they divide up divide up the whole material world into 24 elements. If Brahm is the center of all the manifestation, then this material world is a manifestation of the center of 180 degrees, a center by 180 degrees, and the other 180 degrees constitute the spiritual world. The material world is the perverted reflection, so the spiritual world must have the same uh,
Variegatedness.
variegatedness. But in reality, the Prakriti is the external energy of the Supreme Lord, and the Purusa is the Supreme Lord Himself. And that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Since this manifestation is material, it is temporary. A reflection is temporary, for it is sometimes seen and sometimes not seen. But the origin from whence the reflection is reflected in eternal. The material reflection of the real tree has to be cut off. When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to this material world. If one knows that process, he actually knows the Vedas. One who is attracted by the ritualistic formula of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. He does not exactly know the purpose of this Veda. The purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of Godhead Himself, is to cut down the reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world.
Okay. So this is a
Prabhupada,
very
Srila
long.
Prabhupada ki Jai.
This is a very long purport. Many things are said, but I'll give you two examples which will help you understand. So you all must have seen children, right? So if
Right.
children they get attached to something, some toy or something, then they think it is a very real thing and they want it, right? So then what the parents do? The parents distract the child and take away that thing from the child, right? And then the child is like he forgets, and the child comes back to the parent, right? So So here it is like, in this world, it's a reflection of the real world, the real spiritual world, and we are attracted like a child to it. So then, if we listen to spiritual master, then our mind can be distracted and being directed towards Krishna, and then the same reflection doesn't attract to us at all, and then we can go through. You know, another story that comes to my mind is once there was a king and he visited one sage, and he asked that sage is that I am a king, I have so much in possession, I'm surrounded by gold, wife, children, soldiers, so much of opulence I have, but at the same time I know that at the time of death I won't be able to take anything of it, but I'm so attached to it, I'm worrying about it. So what to do, how to get rid of that attachment, he asked the sage. So then the sage got up and he started running, and then because the sage was running, everyone started running after him, and the sage ran to a tree and he hugged that tree tightly, he hugged that tree and he was saying, oh, let me go, tree, don't hold me, please don't hold me. And then the king said, no, no, you are holding the tree is not holding you. Then the sage said to the king that all these material possessions, they are not holding you, you are holding them. When you understand that, and when you direct your consciousness, your focus, your attachment towards Krishna, towards spiritual life, then you can easily leave all this. Hmm? So, um, so in the second text, or maybe in the third one, Krishna is going to talk how to cut the tree. The branches of this tree extend downwards and upwards, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. The tree also has roots going down, and they are bound to fruitive actions of the human society. Um, so the twigs are the objects of the senses. So basically, this is a tree which is full of Vedas. So economic development, various activities, various facilities are all that the branches and the leaves of this tree. Hmm? Which we read in the first purport only. So here, hmm. So here Krishna says the real form of the tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. So if you want to get rid of the attachment to a reflection, right, we have to be determined. And with a detached mind, we can then come out of it. Therefore, one must seek that place from having gone, one never returns and there surrenders to that Supreme Personal Godhead from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Okay. Yeah, someone can read this paragraph.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead.
The word asanga is very important in this connection because attachment for a sense enjoyment and lauding it over material nature is very strong. Therefore, one must learn detachment by discussion of spiritual science based on authoritative scriptures, and one must hear from persons who are actually in knowledge. As a result of such discussion in the association of devotee, one comes to the spiritual supreme personality of Godhead. Then the first thing one must do is surrender to him. Description of that place whence having gone one never returns to this false reflected tree is given here. Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is a origin root from whom everything has emanated. To gain favor of that personality of Godhead, one has only to surrender. And this is the result of performing a devotional service by hearing, chanting, etc. Is a cause of extension of material world. This has already been explained by the Lord Himself. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. I am origin of everything. Therefore, to get out of entanglement of this strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. As soon as one surrender onto Krishna, one becomes detached automatically from this material extension.
Yeah. So one has to take association of um, persons who are actually in knowledge, basically the spiritual master. And under him, we can cut down this attraction for this material world, basically this false reflection, and we can go to Krishna. Hmm. So the spiritual master will teach us how to do hearing, chanting, hmm. And then by doing this, we achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He then understands that we are serious. So then we achieve his favor. And then he slowly brings us to him. Hmm? Okay. So now, what are the qualities by which we can cut it down? That is described in this verse. Those who are free from the false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with materialist, who are freed from dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So, first thing is he should be free from false prestige. What kind of prestige we have in this world? What is the prestige that we have in this world? I'm not.
Prestige, prestige in the sense that the pride that we have, right?
Yeah, what kind of pride we have?
There are different types of pride. Like,
Mm.
um, so first of all, pride for ourselves, my property, my strength, my power, position. That is pride.
Yeah,
Yes. Second is the
me
family
and
pride,
yeah, me and mine,
me
me
and
and
mine.
mine. Yeah. So one who is free from this concept of me and mine. Okay, how do we free from the concept of me and mine?
How should we free from me and
Yeah,
mine,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So in
By
that case,
understanding real relationship with Krishna.
and
devotional
and
devotional
the
service.
false and temporary nature of this world, we should
Right.
understand both of it, and then this prestige can be reduced. And then when we offer everything to Krishna, then this prestige is no more there. Okay.
Okay.
Free from false prestige, illusion, and false association of those basically non-devotees, one who understands the eternal, meaning we know that there is a spiritual world and we have to go there, we have that faith. And one who's done with material lust, this is the enjoying propensity of this material world. And one who's freed from the duality of happiness and distress, meaning he's not carried away in happiness, neither he's carried away in distress, he's equal in both. And he who is unbewildered, he who doesn't get confused of various things that are happening in this world, they know how to surrender to the Supreme Lord and attain to that eternal kingdom. Okay, we will read this whole paragraph because it's a very interesting important verse also. So can someone read the purport?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Read please.
Surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride, because the surrendered soul is puffed up, thinking himself the lord of material nature. It is very difficult for him to surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by cultivation of real knowledge that he is not a Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. One is free from delusion caused by pride. He can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away, he has a foolish notion that he is a lord of world. He thus makes all the things complicated, and he is always in trouble. The world moves under this impression. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society, and they have divided the land under false impression that they are proprietors. One has to get out of false notion that human society is a proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such false notion, he becomes free from all the false associations caused by criminal, social, and national affections. These faulty associations bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own, what is actually not his own. And when one has an understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. So here, the surrendering process is explained, and that is when we become free from false prestige. And we discussed, false prestige, me, mine. So by knowledge of the temporariness of this world and eternal spiritual world, we can get rid of it. Illusion, false association, understanding eternal, were done with material lust. No more. We don't want to enjoy in this world. We become. Uh, we just understand that if we try to enjoy in this world, it gives us more pain than pleasure. Who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, who are unbewildered, they only can surrender to the Lord. Now now Krishna, he says, um, that one must seek a place where one doesn't return from. Okay, he doesn't return from that place. So let's say if we come to know a place which is really 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 good, then we won't come back, right, from that place. Like, people go to other countries like America or some other countries, and things are good over there. You work, you can get a car and have a big house, right? In India, to get all these things, it's a very 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 troublesome, but over there it is very easy. So if you come to know of this, of America, then one will think, right, let's go there, right? Isn't it? That's why so many people have the desire, right, to go to America. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, because it is good over there. So if we are to go to a place, Vaikunta, then how is Vaikunta? How is Krishna's place? So Krishna is going to explain what is this, what are the features in this place. Not all everything, but main points is going to say. And this all information should attract us. Hmm? That supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun, nor moon, nor fire or electricity. See, these are the things that we need in this world, right? If electricity goes away, what will happen? Hmm? we today find it very difficult to live without electricity, right? Fire, we need fire for cooking, to be warm. Do we need the moon? Do we need the sun? Let me ask you, do we need the sun? Yes, we need the sun, right? By which everything is grown. Rains also come through the sun, trees also grow, grains also grow. We eat, we become healthy by sun. Do you know what is the purpose of the moon then?
It give rasas to food, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So in the later shlokas, Krishna is going to explain about that. So Krishna is saying, in my abode, you don't need the sun, moon, fire, or electricity. It's already there. You don't need to separately get it. Hmm? Everything is self-illuminated in this in the spiritual world. So we feel happy, right, to go to such a place. Hmm? If we say in a village, then we say, if you go to the city, you will have a nice life. Hmm? You will get a vehicle. You will have good health. Doctors are nearby only, right? Um, you can get even more money by staying in the city. If you just do this kind of job or that kind of job, then you'll get more money that you can earn in the village, right? So when this information is given to the person in the village, he feels, oh, very nice place, the city, and therefore they migrate to the city, right? Similarly, Krishna is giving all this information so that we become very attracted by all this information, and then we want to migrate to over there. Okay. mm, yeah, this is the point I was trying to tell. One should be captivated by this information. One should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. For one who is too much attached to this material world, it is very difficult to cut that attachment. But if he takes to Krishna consciousness, that is chanting, dancing, hearing, and prasadam, then one will gradually be able to detach himself. Hmm? One cannot become detached from the material world simply by wearing himself, by dressing himself in a saffron cloth. We see so many people with saffron cloth, uh, and we think, oh, they may be very detached, but later on we come to know that they have committed scams and they're doing after money, they're abusing people, right? So detachment is not something external, it is very internal. Okay, and what is that internal means? Internal means internally we are very convinced that nothing in this world belongs to me, everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Okay. Mm, okay, let's go to the seventh verse. Can anyone read this translation and purport, highlighted one?
Yes, Prabhuji. I will read. Living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to the conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with six senses, which include the mind.
See, Krishna knows that we are struggling very hard because we have a mind which is uncontrolled and the six senses are also uncontrolled. The moment we control mind and senses, we will become peaceful. Otherwise, these things they drive us here and there, and even when we are maybe controlling all that, but the lifestyle in this world is also very hard. It's not very easy also. Go ahead with the purpose.
In this verse, the identity of the living beings is clearly given. The living entity is the fragmental parts and parcel of Supreme Lord eternally. It is not that he assumes individuality in this conditional life and in his liberated state becomes one with Supreme Lord. He is eternally fragmented. It is clearly said, Sanatanaha. According to the Vedic version, the Supreme Lord manifests and expands himself in innumerable expansions, of which The primary expansions are called Vishnu Tattva, and secondary expansions are called the living entities.
Yeah. So
In
this particular verse, right, 15.7, we'll just go to the verse, because Krishna talks about something very nice. Just wanted to show you. Hmm. Mama evansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Mama eva amsa. Mama means mine. Amsa means my part. They are my part. So Krishna is saying all the jivas are his part and parcel. Hmm. So all of us belong to Krishna. And Krishna, he expands into Rama, Narsimha, Narayana, Vishnu, right? So all those are called as Vishnu Tattva. And he has, we also as parts of him, Jivas. The difference between Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva is Vishnu Tattva is still Krishna, but Jiva Tattva is not Krishna. Vishnu Tattva is Vibhu and Jiva Tattva is Anu, meaning it is the Vishnu Tattva is the full controller and the Jiva Tattva is a small controller. He knows only his Kshetra. The Vishnu Tattva, they knows everything because they're Paramatma, like that. So both have the same quality, but the quantity differs. We read till here. So this is a very important point. Let's go through this. Yeah, read this highlighted part.
as fragmental parts and parcels of Supreme Lord, living entities also have fragmental portions of his qualities, of which independence is one. Every living entity, as an individual soul, has his personal individuality and a minute form of independence. By misuse of that independence, one becomes conditioned soul. And by proper use of independence, he is always liberated. In either case, he is qualitatively eternal, as the Supreme Lord is. In his liberated state, he is freed from this material condition and he is under engagement of transcendental service unto the Lord. In this conditioned life, he is dominated by material modes of nature and he forgets the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As a result, he has to struggle very hard to maintain his existence in material world. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So if there is a rich man and if his son fights with that rich man, you know, if there's a fight and the son then goes to some other city and tries to live, it will be a difficult uh, task, right, to live separately in the other city, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So we living entities, we have forgotten Krishna and therefore we are trying to live very separately from him. So in this world, we are, in our own consciousness saying that this is me and mine and my endeavor, I am the doer. And all of this is simply a big struggle. It's simply a big struggle. But if we go back to Krishna, then no more struggle. If the son returns back to his parent, then there won't be any struggle. He can live very happily, right? If you have a grown up son or a daughter, even if they have gone to some other place to do their engineering or education or work, the one thing that we constantly hear from them is it is very difficult, right? Staying alone, staying in another place, cooking or eating outside, traveling, right? At home everything is provided, right? At home the child is simply provided everything. Same way, if we go to spiritual world, then everything will be provided. We don't have to struggle. The word karashati, struggling or grappling hard, is very significant. The conditioned soul is bound up as though shackled by iron chains. He is bound up by false ego, and the mind is the chief agent which is driving him in this material existence. When the mind is in mode of goodness, his activities are good. When the mind is in mode of passion, his activities are troublesome, miseries. And when the mind is in mode of ignorance, he travels into lower species of life, that is madness. If he develops Krishna consciousness, then he can see the Lord face to face. He can hear and speak to him face to face. If he become pure devotees, then that is the facility that we get. Mm, read this section, this highlighted thing.
Okay, Prabhuji. The words Mama Vamsha, fragmental parts and parcels of Supreme Lord, are also very significant. Fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is not like some material broken part. We have already understood in the second chapter that spirit cannot be cut into pieces. This fragment is not materially conceived. It is not like matter, which can be cut into pieces and joined together again. That conception is not applicable here because Sanskrit the word Sanatana eternal is used. Fragmental portion is eternal.
Yeah, so it is not something, a part that is broken away from Krishna. No, it's like, there is a machine and some nut bolt has come out of that machine. So is it broken? No, it is just a nut bolt. If you fit it back to the machine, then it becomes one with the machine, right? So like that, the part and parcel is like this, like parents having children. Are they broken away from the parents? No, they are separate, but they are not a broken part. Together they become what? One family. So that is the concept of Mamai Vansh. Okay. Again, we are qualitatively one with the Lord, just as you know parts and parcels of gold are also gold. So qualitatively a one. But the gold dust and the gold chunk of gold is not same, right? There's a difference in the quantity. So by quantity perspective, we are different from the Lord. Okay. Now here is our situation. How we are getting the new bodies. Can you read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. Here the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his
No,
own
no.
body.
Read translation. Translation.
Living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Here, the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to higher grade, and if he likes, he can move to the lower class. Minute independence is there. The change his body undergoes depends upon him. At the time of that, the consciousness he has created will carry him on to the next type of body. If he has made his consciousness like that of cat or dog, is sure to change to cat's or dog's body. If he has fixed his consciousness on godly qualities, he will change into form of demigod. And if he is in the Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It is the false claim that after annihilation of the body, everything is finished. Individual soul is transmigrated from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are a background of his next body. One gets different body according to the karma and has to quit his body in due course. It is stated here that substile body, which carries the conception of the next body, develops another body in the next life. The process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karsati or
For
struggle
existence.
for existence.
Yeah. So depending on how we act in this world, what desires we have, we get different bodies. Cat, dog, demigod, human being, like that. And in all the bodies, we basically struggle. In demigod, we may be struggling less, but there is a struggle. Okay. Yeah. Read this also.
Living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eyes, tongue, nose, and senses of touch,
Which
which
are
are grouped
grouped.
about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Yeah. 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 Just. So I had shown this. Yeah. Costume. So depending on the desire and karma, we get different kinds of costumes. And then the feature of the costume then allows us, to fully utilize it or to, find it difficult to wear. Getting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So this is what Krishna is saying. We get a particular type of ear, eyes, nose, tongue, this particular type of costume. And then we can act freely in it, but the costume will limit us in acting freely, right? So in the human form of life, we get this kind of costume, left one, where we can really act and we can really do spiritual activity also. But in the animal body, we can't do anything. Only what the animal is like, living. So we also live like that. Read the purport.
In other words, if a living entity adulterates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life he gets cats or dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is uh,
Originally pure.
originally pure, originally pure like water. But if we mix water with certain color, it changes. Similarly, the consciousness is pure. For a spirit, soul is pure, but consciousness is changed according to the association of material qualities. Real consciousness is a Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in the Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So when we take to Krishna consciousness, then we can purify our life. Just like if there is a impure water, now because of rain, the groundwater is impure, right? So when the water comes into our taps, what we do?
filter we will
Yeah, we
keep.
have filters, right, installed in our society, in our homes. So the same impure water, we will just purify it, and um, we can then consume it. Same way, Krishna consciousness is like a purifier. It purifies the soul of all of its anarthas, and the pure spirit soul in its original nature comes out of it and then can go back to God, like that. Okay. So okay, maybe we can stop here. If there are any questions or comments, any questions or comments?
Now, Prabhuji, here the 15th chapter is a little confusing. The
Yeah,
actual tree's roots are down,
yeah,
but
yeah.
in the spiritual tree, the roots are upwards. How we have to understand this?
Yeah, by this picture you have to understand. So there is a real tree where Krishna lives with all his devotees. And in the reflection, we all Jiva Tattvas are trying to find happiness, you know, that is actually there in the spiritual world. So we are trying to have relationships here, right? We are trying to achieve something, but this world is full of birth, death, old age, and disease, right? So therefore, we are always unhappy. And if we get along with some people, then sometime we may not get along with the same person after some time, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there are many people who do so-called love marriages, and then they have divorce also after many years, right? So what kind of
Yes,
love
yes.
marriage was that? So in this world, it is like that. It is like happiness, distress, success, failure. It goes into dualities. So we have to tolerate it to live in this world. And then when we practice spiritual life with that toleration, we can reach to the real tree, that is the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planets. And there we can have our eternal relationship with Krishna.
Okay. Okay,
And
Prabhuji.
and Krishna is perfect, right? So therefore we won't be unhappy with him. But here we are dealing with imperfect people around us, right?
Yes, yes.
So so all our desires are not satisfied. Only some get satisfied. Sometimes the wife says, how I got married to you. Sometimes the husband thinks, why I married her. Sometimes the parent think, oh, what kind of children we got. And the children think, oh, what kind of parent we got. Right?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Do we hear Krishna saying like that? Yashoda saying like that? Do we hear Devaki saying like that? Nanda Maharaj saying like that? No, right? It is a perfect
No,
relationship.
no. Yes, yes.
Krishna is with the gopis. But the gopis, even if they get angry on him, still they are happy. It is not that we heard now no more Radha Krishna together. They have broken up or they have divorced. No, right?
No, no, no.
Yeah, because there is a spiritual sweetness in those relationships, which is lacking in this world. In our world, there is no spiritual pleasure. It's only material pleasure, and material pleasure has two sides to it. It will be nectar in the start and poison in the end. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Any other
No, no
question?
problem.
Any other
That's all,
question?
Prabhuji.
Okay. 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 So
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
okay.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Dandavat pranam.